Okay, let's jump right in. We're doing a deep dive today into Exodus chapter 20.
Right. And it starts with such an intense scene.
It really does. You've got thunder, lightning, this trumpet sound getting louder, the mountain covered in smoke.
And God speaking directly to the people from the fire. I mean, not through Moses, not yet anyway. This is the voice itself.
Yeah, raw communication, which, understandably, freaks people out.
Oh, absolutely. They're trembling, standing at a distance. They actually tell Moses, look, you speak to us. We can handle that.
But don't let God speak to us or we'll die. That's what they say, right?
Exactly. It shows the sheer power, the otherness of it all. They immediately want a mediator.
Makes sense. But before that mediation role really kicks in, God lays down these, well, foundational words.
It starts with identity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I am the Lord your God.
Who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, establishing the relationship right up front based on what he's already done.
And then, bam, the first command. You shall have no other gods before me. Straightforward.
Followed quickly by the prohibition against idols. No images of anything in heaven, on earth, or in the water.
And the reasoning there is fascinating. God calls himself a jealous God. It connects hating him with consequences across a few generations.
But then this incredible contrast.
Huge contrast.
Yeah.
Showing steadfast love to thousands of generations of those who love him and keep his commandments. It's this massive relational scale.
Loyalty and love have this immense long-term blessing attached. Okay, so after idols.
Respect for the divine name, don't misuse it. And then the Sabbath.
Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy.
And it's quite detailed. 6 days you work, get everything done.
But the seventh day is different.
Completely different. It's a Sabbath to the Lord your God, a day of complete rest.
Yeah.
And notice who's included.
Right, it's not just the head of the household.
No. It's your son, your daughter, your male and female servants, your livestock, even the foreigner residing in your towns. Everyone stops.
Why? What's the anchor for that command?
It ties directly back to creation. Because God worked for 6 days, creating everything, and then rested on the seventh.
So he blessed the seventh day and made it holy. It mirrors the cosmic rhythm.
Exactly. It integrates their weekly life into that divine pattern.
That inclusivity is really something. Okay, then the commands shift more towards community, social interactions.
Yep. Honoring father and mother comes next. And significantly, it's the one with a specific promise attached right there.
So that your days may be long in the land.
The land the Lord your God is giving you ties it to their future, their stability.
After that, it becomes very concise, almost like rapid-fire prohibitions.
Very direct. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor.
Short, sharp, fundamental rules for living together.
And the last one, you shall not covet, which then gets elaborated a bit.
Yeah, it lists specifics. Don't covet your neighbor's house or wife or servants or ox or donkey.
Or anything that belongs to your neighbor. It goes beyond the action to the desire, the root of potential conflict.
So after all this is spoken, we circle back to the scene at the mountain. The people are still terrified by the thunder, the lightning.
Right. They haven't calmed down. They see it all happening and keep their distance.
And they repeat their request to Moses, you speak with us.
And Moses' response is key here. He says, basically, don't be afraid. But then he explains why God came in this way.
He says God came to test them.
So that the fear of God will be with you to keep you from sinning. It's shifting the fear from paralyzing terror to like a guiding reverence or awe.
Interesting distinction. Okay, so what happens right after that exchange?
God gives Moses more instructions, almost immediately reinforcing a point.
Which is?
Do not make any gods to be alongside me, specifically calling out gods of silver or gold. Right after they experienced the real thing and recoiled, he's doubling down. Don't make substitutes.
Underscoring his uniqueness. Okay, and the chapter wraps up with instructions about altars.
Yes, how to worship properly through sacrifice. And the instructions are maybe surprisingly simple at first.
Make an altar of earth for me, it says.
Just earth. And sacrifice your burnt offerings and fellowship offerings on it.
Yeah.
But if you use stone,
There's a catch.
a big one, do not build it with dressed stones. If you use a tool on it, you've defiled it. It has to be natural, unworked stone.
That's counterintuitive to how we often think of sacred spaces, needing to be elaborate or perfectly crafted.
Exactly. And another practical point, no steps leading up to the altar.
To avoid exposing nakedness, the text says, it's quite concerned with propriety and maybe vulnerability.
Perhaps. But the core promise tied to these simple altars is powerful. which is, wherever I cause my name to be honored, presumably through following these instructions, I will come to you and bless you. The divine presence is tied to this specific, humble way of honoring him.
So pulling it all together from this chapter, we have this incredible, direct, overwhelming divine communication.
Followed by foundational commands for relationship with God and others.
The people's reaction to fear, Moses reframing that fear.
And then these very specific, almost rustic instructions for building altars. Simple earth or untouched stones?
It's quite a journey within one chapter, isn't it? From the terrifying, untouchable mountaintop
To the instruction for a simple, humble altar of earth where God promises to meet them and bless them. The grandeur meets the ground, in a way.
Yeah. So here's a thought to leave you with. What does it really signify that the promise of divine presence and blessing isn't attached to the most elaborate human-controlled construction, but to this basic, almost vulnerable altar of earth or unshaped stone, simply because his name is honored there? Something to reflect on.